So we will begin with yesterday, 4:12 p.m. Eastern Time, Mar-a-Lago, Palm Beach, Florida. President Trump is answering questions from the press, which Joe Biden never did. I think in the first 4 weeks, Trump has answered more questions than Biden did in 4 years. And the subject of the war in Ukraine comes up. Here's what Trump said. Go.
You know, they're upset about not having a seat. Well, they've had a seat for 3 years and a long time before that. This could have been settled very easily. Just a half-baked negotiator could have settled this years ago without the loss of much land, very little land, without the loss of any lives, and without the loss of cities that are just laying on their side.
All right, so President Trump believes that the Ukrainians, Zelensky, blew it before the war. Now, I don't subscribe to that. I'm not versed enough into what exactly the back and forth was with Putin and Russia. I know Putin is evil. He's on the cover of my next book, Confronting the Evil. There's Vlad next to the Ayatollah Khomeini, Hitler, and Mao. That's the cover of the book. So I'm not endorsing what Donald Trump said. I am listening to his point of view. And I do believe 100% that if Trump had been elected again in the year 2000, that war in Ukraine would not have happened. Because there was no leadership on the part of NATO and the United States to ward off the war. Okay? Now, that's what I believe. I can't prove it. So, you heard what Trump said. A half-baked negotiator could have, all right, prevented this horror. That's his belief. 6 minutes later, same presser. 6 minutes later, Trump says this. Go.
But today I heard, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it.
So in the context of him believing that the Ukrainians blew it in the run-up to the war, he says, you should have never started it. It's in context to what he was talking about. Okay? It wasn't that Zelensky attacked Russia. That's absurd. Okay. So clearly, if you are fair and have an IQ over 50, you know that Trump is criticizing Ukraine and Zelensky for poor negotiating before the war started. Again, I'm not endorsing that. I don't know enough. But that's Trump's point of view. Enter the media, who then take what Trump said and characterize it this way. Roll it.
Tonight, President Trump parroting Russian propaganda as he falsely accuses Ukraine of starting the war, which began almost 3 years ago when Vladimir Putin's troops invaded Ukraine.
Still to come tonight, after extraordinary sacrifice and bloodshed to save their country, Ukraine today, President Trump blamed them for starting the war.
Coming up on CNN this morning, placing the blame on Ukraine. Ukraine, invaded by Russia. President Trump falsely claiming, though, that Ukraine started the war.
Disgraceful. And Wolf Blitzer has been around long enough to know what he said wasn't true, out of context, but he just does what he's told. So does Cooper, and so does the other guy. That's it. And it's destroy Trump. Trump is evil. When I'm watching, my anger level goes through the roof because I know how dishonest. I don't like dishonest people. I don't like them. I don't care where they are. It was so no context whatsoever. Falsely accused, that, blaming Ukraine. Now, there was a report out of Reuters and the BBC and then Business Insider. 3 sources. This was what Putin told Zelensky before the war started in 2022. I'm going to put it up on the screen. I'll read it for you on the radio. Russia told Ukraine it would immediately cease its military operations if Kyiv met their conditions, including changing its constitution to ensure neutrality, acknowledging Crimea as belonging to Russia, and acknowledging Donetsk and Luhansk as independent states. Okay, that's what Putin wanted. And it's unreasonable. Absolutely unreasonable. But it's a negotiation. Okay? So now Trump wants to stop the war. He doesn't trust Zelensky. Trump does not trust the man. Again, I'm not endorsing that because I don't know. Trump believes that the United States has spent $350 million to help Ukraine. That's all Biden money. While the rest of Europe collectively has sent $200 million, and Trump says we're getting screwed again. That's his mindset. Okay? And he doesn't believe that Zelensky is going to make any concessions. So therefore, Trump is negotiating directly with Putin. Now, Putin's already made a major concession that has not been reported by anyone. Putin has agreed that Ukraine can join the European Union. That's huge for Ukraine. Huge. But no NATO. But everybody knew that NATO was never going to happen. But Putin is starting to give. And Trump is trying to get the best deal he can get for this ceasefire. Are you with me now? Is everybody still with me? Okay. So the U.S. envoy to Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, don't know him. He's in Kyiv today, talking to Zelensky and explaining why Trump and Putin are talking and what's going on. That's a good thing. Yesterday, Secretary of State Rubio met with he is a Soviet, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in Saudi Arabia. 4 hours. They are trying to get the framework of a deal. That's what these meetings are all about. Trump doesn't want Zelensky going, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. That's why Zelensky's not there. And Trump doesn't care what the European countries want. I'm sorry, but he doesn't. Again, I'd be a little bit more benign if I were president, but Trump doesn't care what they think. He wants it to stop. And he'll get it, as I said before the election. He'll get his deal. Putin will deal. Why will Putin deal? Because Putin's getting murdered. 150,000 at least Russians have been killed. 500,000 wounded. Now, these stats are tough, but they come from Brit intelligence, the UN, all over the place. But Russia's getting pounded. They need North Korean troops to fight their battle. That's how bad it is for them. And the deficit in Russia has risen 74% since the start of this year, not even 2 months into the year. They're spending and they can't make it up. They can't tax their people. People don't have any money in Russia. And the ruble, their currency, has declined in a dramatic way. I mean, you can get 100 rubles for the dollar now. I mean, if you want to buy a little shack on the Black Sea, now's the time to do it. I wouldn't suggest it. The Dhaka is down there, but there's no good news for Putin. He has to make a deal, and that's what Trump is doing. But he's also flattering Putin. So that's what Trump does. So the Wall Street Journal excoriates Trump today on the editorial page, saying, look, he's trying to mainstream this villain. It's true, he is. But Trump doesn't believe that this guy is noble, Putin. He just wants the deal. And that's part of the process. He doesn't want to make Putin his personal enemy, Trump. It's how he negotiates. Anyway, the media will never tell you the truth, ever, about anything involving Donald Trump. That's dangerous because it's not just us, it's the whole world. CNN goes worldwide. And that's the memo. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on X. Look for @Bill O'Reilly.